Ladies, don't start an OnlyFans career. Even if you're very beautiful and you make tens of thousands of dollars every month, it won't make you happy. It'll make you rich, but money isn't everything, and it can't buy you love, as this particular OnlyFans model found out. Amanda Summer, who I'm going to call an undateable incel, because she is.
Is it not femcel? You meant to use that?
I actually didn't realise that incel was a gendered term.
I think the feminists made femcel as an insult for it.
Oh, right, okay. Well, Amanda Summer, an undateable femcel, 27, decided to quit her job as a member of the cabin crew for Ryanair last year in favour of becoming a full-time OnlyFans model and makes £15,000 a month. Everything must be going groovy for her. Everything must be perfect. All of her material needs have been met. How could she possibly be unhappy with her life? Everything's going brilliantly.
She's reached fully automated luxury communism.
She actually has, yes. She has to do nothing apart from take photos of herself. But despite raking in the cash, she's admitted she isn't happy because her new job has left her struggling to find love. Because it turns out that money isn't everything. Communists, I hope you're listening. Money isn't everything. It's actually, in many ways, better to have not as much as you want and have other things that make you happy, such as a loving family, than to have more than you could ever spend and have no one who loves you. The beauty from Hartlepool says men often dump her when they discover that what she does for a living. Are you shocked?
I wouldn't date her. Would you?
No, I wouldn't. But I just find it amusing that you're like, no, I'm not having a whore. She is frustrated that guys aren't open-minded enough to accept her for who she is. Her last boyfriend walked away from their relationship after he discovered her new career path, and now other men she tries to date keep doing the same thing. And this is a really great way of showing that women may well control access to sex, but men control access to relationships. And that means that women, they don't need to worry about being able to find sex, because obviously it's the men that want that from them, but they're the ones who want the long-term relationship from the man, and the man is the one in charge of that. So ladies, this is why you might want to think about that dichotomy. It is not fair, but it is true. She says, it keeps happening. I get with guys just to keep finding out. They also get upset that I lied to them about what I do, but if I'm upfront with them, they would want nothing to do with me. Michael's laughing in the corner.
What is this? You lie to them and they don't want you, and when you tell them you're a whore, they don't want you, and you're shocked by this. No one ever told you this might happen.
I'm very frustrated because I just can't seem to hold down a boyfriend because of all of this. I just think guys should be more open-minded. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's the guy's fault here, isn't it?
Oh, I love that someone who's like in the top 1% of attractiveness and top 1% of earnings are going to start talking about fairness. Oh, tell me about the suffering and the unfair nature of being unbelievably hot and making like millions and whatnot. Like, tell me about that. But I love this. Men should be more open-minded. Why?
Don't have to be.
No, they don't have to be. And I don't even think they should be when it comes to this. I think the men have got exactly the right position. Don't date a prostitute.
But also, it's the old adage of if everyone you try and date doesn't like you, it's not them, it's you.
Yes.
And, love. I don't know how many men you've tried, but it's clearly not them.
Yes. And I'm sure that she could find a man who would date her, but then that would be a very unattractive man, wouldn't it? It would be a leftist. Simp. Yes, a leftist simp. But she says she thinks the men she dates are jealous that when she talks to other guys on the subscription-based app, as well as being envious of the money she makes.
Yeah, no surprise. What do you mean? Yeah. Oh, I think they might be jealous of when I flirt with men on OnlyFans.
Yeah, and when they give me loads of money, so he she must be dwarfing these men's income. Absolutely, like 3 or 4 times what they're earning per month. She's earning per month for being naked and prostituting herself to other men. And it's like weirdly, he's acting as if I'm not treating our relationship as sacrosanct. It's like you're not.
When I want a woman, I want the woman to be mine.
Yes, and you also lied to them.
Yeah, there's that.
Weird.
It's like either I admit that I'm not going to be theirs, essentially. Mm-hmm. Let's be serious about this, or that I lie to them. Neither of these work. No one's shocked by that love.
No. Weirdly, men aren't into that. But the beauty has become closed off since starting her OnlyFans career and now suffers from loneliness. She says, since I've done this, I've suffered from loneliness. I've worked hard for 1 year and I haven't had the chance to enjoy the money a bit, apart from the dog that I bought, which is odd. But okay, fine. So stop doing it.
I mean, 15 grand a month. She must have plenty of savings now.
Yeah, exactly. Must have loads. Must have bought a house. She's been doing it for a year. She's doing great. And but it's not bringing happiness. That's the point. And so, ladies, I realise that it's very tempting to look at OnlyFans and go, "Wow, I could do with 15 grand a month," and I'm sure you could.
Well, 50% of it's going to go to the government.
Well, yeah, there is that. 45% of it's going to go to the state, but still, 7.5 grand a month is 8 grand a month. Is still pretty good. But remember what you're sacrificing when you make this choice. There is a cost to everything, and not all of these costs are financial. She says. When she does find the perfect man for her, she wants someone who's up for an adventure. I'd really like to go with, really like someone who is adventurous, where I won't be stuck inside. Someone who likes to go on holidays and stuff. Well, good luck at the moment. I'm fed up because I'm single for a long time and no one seems to like it and give it a chance. Well, there we go. And so I decided to search around on just comment sections and forums and things like Reddit to see whether people would date an OnlyFans girl or not, and see what the authentic public reaction is. And here's just some that I pulled out with. So one person says, to sleep with? Yeah, sure. To date? Hell no. Not a chance in hell. If she's that lazy when it comes to making $1, building a life with her will be slow and painful. And if she's that desperate for attention, she will seek attention or more from other men as reassurance. I think OnlyFans is making it easier for us men to identify a mistake before we invest into women. That being said, I never pay a dime to see something I can simply Google if I'm desperate. Pornhub is free after all.
That's a hell of a burn.
That is a savage truth.
God, the idea that, well, OnlyFans is doing us a service by weeding out the whores.
Yes, you may have spotted this girl in a bar and been like, "Oh, she's a babe. I'll go talk to her." And
but she's obsessed with attention or obsessed with getting cash. So.
Yes, she prostitutes herself for attention and money. Another one said, "No, why would I date someone who could have shown her private parts, shown her privates, probably for my friends, families, teachers, etc. Public assets like them bear no value to me whatsoever, but I would have sex with them absolutely." I had a buddy, another one says, I had a buddy who dated a cam girl, and while at first he said he was cool with it, very quickly he realised how odd it was to be constantly walking in on his girlfriend working all the time, just so other dudes could get off to her. Yeah, she made bank, but compared to his other relationships, he couldn't seem to get used to it himself. So yeah, there is something about the nature of a personal, intimate relationship with a woman that requires exclusivity. And if she's sharing all of this with other men tend not to like that.
I distinctly remember, I can't remember if it was Louis Theroux, but one of these documentary type filmmakers did a section on that in which they were doing it about sex, and it was a couple, and the guy helped her film for cam stuff and got her like the whatever she needed for whatever recommendations. And you could see when the documentary starts to break down, they're like, all right, no cameras right now, and they keep recording the audio and the video. You can hear them arguing about it, and the guy being like, I'm not happy with this. No, don't do that one. There's constant friction, constantly.
I also went to Quora. I found a bunch of answers, but they're basically the same thing. Just
Any sick burns?
No, nothing. Just nothing better than the first one, to be honest. But yeah, there was no way. But there was one actually. He says this one guy said yes, but it would have to be an understanding that I'm not going to fully commit to you as a man. I work hard for my money, and I'm not taking that fact away that you have to sell your body for cash. But I don't think for 1 second that I have to be faithful to you and commit to you while you sell your nudes for cash and God knows what else you do on the side when I'm at work busting my ass. So basically, it seems that a lot of men view this as a form of paid infidelity, because that is what it is.
It's almost like there's no real trust.
Of course not.
Like you can't trust them. Literally,
the most private and intimate thing that should be shared exclusively with you is being sold to anyone with a fiver. Absolutely not. It's disgraceful. But of course, this has led to a great deal of cope. You get articles like this: why every guy should date an OnlyFans girl. Big cope, basically.
I want to hear the argument.
But the thing is, if they're writing articles like this, you can tell this is a trend that ain't going to happen. Right? But this guy is like king of the simps. Being with an OnlyFans girl is awesome. You literally get to see her naked in person, take the pics of her naked, pipe her down while she's naked, and then she buys you chicken nuggies with the money someone else gave her.
Is this a troll article?
No. That's the thing, it's not.
He's talking like a guy on 4chan.
Yes, and he's talking like a teenager on 4chan. But also, I mean, this sounds like the sort of thing a pet. Look at that, 100,000 likes. 100,000 likes. But this is basically her treating you like a pet.
Should we tell him? Should we tell him the secret? If you get a normal girlfriend, you also get to see her naked.
Yeah, I know that. Right? Look, I was. unironically, I was going to go through that because he's literally like, "Oh my god, you get to see her naked." It's like I get to see my wife naked.
Like, what do you think happens when you get a normal wife? She's just clothed 100% of the time. Just
I don't know.
you have sex through a wall.
I guess he's never had sex with a woman before or something. But like he says this. I can't stress this enough. Literally getting to see your own girlfriend naked in person, as opposed to virtually or not at all, is one of the unique perks of dating a woman with an active OnlyFans account. What? Like, what kind of relationships has he been in where he never gets to see his girlfriend naked and never? I mean, like at one point he even says that he's like, yeah, you can have sex with her naked. It's like, who isn't naked when they have sex? I'm not even joking. He says,
is he a furry or something?
No, listen. I've always said there's nothing better than piping down your. I hate this language.
What is that?
Having sex. Piping down your girlfriend while she's fully naked, as opposed to piping her down while she dons a scarlet pantsuit with a slit in its crotch and cosplays as Hillary Clinton. What are you talking about?
Why would you want to have sex with Hillary Clinton?
I have no idea. But
what on earth?
To be fair, Hillary was not a bad-looking woman when she was young. Have you not seen the pictures of her in the 20s and 30s?
I've never lived through it, have I? So.
Well, no, I hadn't either. She's like 80 or something.
I just think of the ancient woman that ran in 2016 and now won't die.
Look up a picture of Hillary Clinton when she's in her 30s or so. She's not a bad-looking woman.
Right.
But she's obviously evil.
But also this Zoomer's never seen her young.
Well, yeah. But yeah, it's such a bizarre argument is, you get to see her naked. It's like, yeah, you get to have sex with her when she's naked.
You get to kiss the hands of OnlyFans?
I know, it's amazing. And she'll give you chicken nuggies because you're a child. See, there we go. Look, Hillary Clinton when she was a younger woman was not a bad-looking woman.
If I was going to pick someone to cosplay as a woman for, romantic sex, I would not pick Hillary Clinton.
Can we go for that one in the top left a sec, Michael?
But even then,
it's not a bad-looking woman at all.
I'm making the point of just like, well, this is very boomer, where it's like this old reference of a woman who looked good once upon a time. Like, these people surely aren't going to be remembering this. So why would they not come up with someone more modern?
I have no idea. But anyway, moving on, right? Women do not want to date OnlyFans models either. Now, this was a wonderful article I found. If we can go to the next one, about a woman who met a dude online who was an online exhibitionist, and she was attracted to the confidence of his exhibitionism.
What's an exhibitionist?
Someone who likes to show the body off online.
So like a gym bro who's just like loves showing their
more of a sexual fetish,
right? Okay.
So they show their bum or various other bits of themselves. Right. Yeah. But she says my support of this guy's antics wavered when he unexpectedly. So she admires his exhibitionism. She finds that attractive. They start dating, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm going to make an OnlyFans." And then she says, those 6 words hatched an uncomfortable egg in my throat, which I subsequently swallowed with a small smile as I swore I didn't mind. After all, he would be making money, and sis, he was broke as F. I was like, very interesting. Very, very interesting. She doesn't mind a bit of this sort of, exhibitionism, because that's, a bit racy and stuff like that. Because he was only like showing like side pics of his bum or something. So there's nothing too, major. And she was into that. But he's like, right, I'm going to start making money on OnlyFans. And she's like, no, you can't do that. You're my boyfriend. This is exclusive.
You're my man.
Yeah.
The same way my woman.
Exactly. It's all about exclusivity. But she's very progressive, and so she had to power through this. And I'm not even joking. Listen to this, right? Unsought Criticism has naturally tailed the money-making trend, and of course, that peanut gallery consists of a myriad of misogynists, mostly men who typify garbage and find entertainment value in those aggravating Twitter threads reading, "Fellas, would you let your girl out of the house like this?" in a reference to a photo of a woman in a bodycon dress. For them, the argument against dating a woman who capitalizes off the male gaze is one rooted in coverture, hypocrisy, as many women have noted the same men who hate sex workers actually moonlight as the customers themselves, and the easily squashed theory of selling one's body. The loudness of these would you discussions attest to the classic misogynist yes-man truism. Men love essing on autonomous women very loudly and in the presence of the dumb and agreeable. But all of this is to say that people of all genders should be able to do whatever the hell they want with their bodies without unsolicited censure. Unless it's your boyfriend. And then it's a no. It's a hard no. So Cameron is the name of the guy, but it's a false name, obviously. Cameron was going through it and snapping his goodies for gay men, the demographic most subscribed to his content, and it was an efficient way to pay for a utility bill or a few weeks of groceries. Sure, I felt uneasy about the situation, but I wasn't going to let my aspirational idea of monogamy and its correlating expectations impede on his livelihood. Why not? You're the one, you're dating him. He's like, look, I'm going to become a prostitute for gay men. You could have said no.
I mean, at least there's no chance of him cheating, presumably.
Well, yeah, I mean, he wasn't gay. So, you legitimately could have turned around and said, look, I'm really not happy about that, and I think we're going to split up if you do that. You've got a genuine right to do that. And she says, sure. I'm sorry. He had bus fares, cold brews, and Dr. Bonner's Castile soap to buy. And just as women's bodies are not up for discussion, what he did was his, in theory, not refutable. In theory. In theory. I love that she has to include that in there.
Leftist theory does not...
exactly. Leftist theory is like, well, anyone who, women's bodies are not up for discussion. Yeah, they are. It's so immense. And especially if you're dating someone who's doing this. You're totally free to have an opinion on this, and you should. She says, but being open-minded about sex work in the context of monogamous dating is easier said than done, especially if someone like me was totally supportive of the decriminalization and destigmatization of sex work, unless it's your boyfriend.
In which case I'll stigmatize that to no end.
And don't get me wrong, I support you 100%. Right? Outweighing whatever radicalism I had adopted in college was my stock in a core monogamous belief. One's romantic partner is the only individual who should see them in a sexually intimate context. Completely agree.
Exclusivity. And the whole point of you being their woman.
Exactly.
And them being your man.
Exactly. But it's a very, very sort of traditionalist, reactionary position that is beating in the heart of people all over the world. Most people are indeed this way. She says, and even if I never expressed it outwardly, Cameron's rightful distribution of dick and balls for $10 a month obviously violated that unspoken one-sided arrangement. Yes, it's true no matter how theoretical you want to be about this. The human heart is an envious thing and wants its own exclusive relationships. We stopped dating shortly after the OnlyFans hustle ran its course, which is about a month long. Truthfully, he was a cis-hetero white man who opted to sell his nudes out of convenience. But this resolution alone was insulting to the numerous women and non-binary folks who pursue sex work as a serious means of survival in a society that has left them policed, marginalized, and oppressed.
The hell has this got to do with it?
I don't know. It's woke rhetoric just starts spilling out to cope with the fact that she's jealous that other people are looking at her naked
Really
boyfriend.
are NPCs, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's also dismissive of committed sex workers who exert just as much, if not more, emotional and physical labor. Cameron was sitting at the top of the patriarchy, not only on OnlyFans for empowerment, survival, or professional growth, nor was he scraping pennies in an abysmal job economy. Well, I mean, you did say he was broke AF, so...
Hang on, is she going to try and argue that, prostitution's okay if you're at the bottom of the progressive stack?
Yes. If you're a woman, then it's okay to be a hooker. If you're a man, it's wrong. He was merely a lazy, grown-ass white guy looking for a reason not to put more than 20 hours a week at his barista gig. Based.
I do love the idea that we have OnlyFans, but only for Muslim women.
Yeah. Black Muslim women. Black Muslim women single mothers. Trans single mothers. There's a very, very fine line of people who are
OnlyFans is going
to
to be ruined by this decision.
Yes. My traditionalist self was secretly relieved. That was until he cited sexual harassment as the ultimate deterrent. He explained that his subscribers had started sending him unsolicited lewd DMs outside of the platform. And then she concludes with, I don't think I'll be dating another guy involved in sex-adjacent work, even if monogamy and its traditions are super dated and inarguably worthy of feminist critique. I'm far too invested in and satisfied with being a hopeless romantic to change my own preferences anytime soon. So she rejects feminism. She wants, theoretically, to say, oh yeah, of course feminism's right, of course it's all right. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to reality, what's really happening, she's like, no, I'm a deep traditionalist and a hopeless romantic. I'm not having any of your feminist crap. Not my boyfriend, right? Again, I love the not in my backyard attitude of it as well. Yeah. Theoretically, yeah, it's fine for people to do that, but not for me. However, I also
not for mine.
Yeah.
Property there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I own him. She owns.
Yeah.
He owns her.
Yeah. But it's not really about ownership in the way. It is, but like it's about the relationship.
Yeah.
That's what.
But it's the exclusivity in the language. Like.
Yeah.
I was going to mention when I was learning Russian, they're translating some of the words, and the example they gave was "moya zhenshina," which was translated as "my wife," and then the same for my husband. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is "zhenshina" just means women, so it's literally my woman. That's my wife.
Based. I like the way you're pretending that you had to learn Russian too.
Oh, shut up.
However, I also mind my old-fashioned business and staunchly believe that people should live their best lives in a way that works for them. Yeah, but it's not for you, is it? Although we're all entitled to our quiet opinions and emotions knotted to them, we're not entitled to the gratuitous judgment of others. You're going to get that anyway, to be honest. So, as your partner's body isn't your possession to police, kind of is. Shaming or dismissing them for simply pursuing sex work is wholly unacceptable. Your discomfort isn't their problem, and in the long run, that person is likely better off without you and your antagonism. You legitimately do not believe that. You do not believe that. It's theoretically, you shouldn't be there, but on a human level, you're like, no, mine. And so men and women don't like OnlyFans. Don't do it. It's not good for you. It will not bring you happiness and satisfaction. It will bring you boundless wealth, but that won't help. If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 p.m. UK time on lotuseaters.com.